Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. A little while ago I posted a video saying what I thought of all the various Doctors in Doctor Who. I didn't really pick a favourite because I don't really have a favourite, so I just sort of went through them chronologically, what I thought of them. But when I made that video, Jodie Whittaker hadn't yet had her series shown. All it had was the regeneration, so there wasn't a lot I could say about that. But now her first series has come and gone, the New Year special's come and gone. I thought I'd give my opinion on her just to complete the series. Jodie herself, I thought she did a really good job at being the Doctor. I like her as the Doctor. I've got no issues, no complaints with her at all. However, I do have a problem with some of the, I don't know, the script writers for this series and I don't know, the character developers or whatever. It just, there's a lot in this series that just didn't work for me. I'm going to go through the episodes one by one. The first one is The Woman Who Fell. I couldn't get into the other characters, all the people that became her companions. I just couldn't get into them. And I particularly didn't like Grace. From the very start, I was like, I don't like Grace. There's just something about her I don't like. I don't care about her. So everyone else was fine. I was a bit concerned to begin with Bradley Walsh being in it, but actually, he was actually quite a nice surprise. I quite liked him as Graham. I was worried beforehand, where everyone was going, oh my god, a female Doctor, but I was worried about Bradley. But to be honest, my worries were unfounded. He actually did quite a good job. I liked him. And then Ryan, I don't know, I just couldn't get into him. It took me about halfway through the series to actually remember what his name is. Normally, with a series of Doctor Who, I'm right in, I'm invested in the characters, all the main characters straight away, all the companions, their story arc. You know, it's interesting to me from the very beginning. But him, I just couldn't even remember his name. I just found him boring. And yeah, the whole, he's got dyspraxia thing and he's overcoming that, it's very interesting, but I just, no. And then Yasmin, she was alright. Again, it took me a while to warm to her, not as quickly as normal. As normally I'm warm to a new companion character within 1 or 2 episodes, and again, it took me a while to warm to her. There's just something about, I don't know, it's just something about the characters this season I just couldn't get into. And then, like, all the bad guys, like you got, or Tim Shaw, or whatever his name is, he was like the lamest baddie, and it's like, he was supposed to be this really badass guy, he goes on killing people, he puts teeth in his face and stuff. I thought that was quite a good concept. Some new bad guy. But then he's like dispatched so easily at the end. And it's just like, oh, he's a bit hopeless in the first episode. He can't even become leader of his race without cheating. And then he kicks off the crane by that nobody. And then he gets shot in the foot by Ryan and Graham. And it's just, no, he was a useless bad guy. And I found this throughout the whole thing. I think the message they were trying to get across was, sometimes people appear bad, but they're not always as bad. And they did that several times. Let's have a look at the other episodes. I've got my laptop down here, so I keep glancing down here. The Ghost Monument. So basically, the Doctor's just zapped everyone into space. Now, quite frankly, that could have been the end of the series there. The fact that 2 ships came along and rescued them was just pure luck. She could have zapped them into space. They're all in space. They all die at the end. That was pretty careless. The Ghost Monument was alright. Again, you've got more of the Graham and Ryan story. They're getting to know each other, like each other sort of thing. And it was an okay episode. It felt like a filler. It wasn't my favourite. She got the TARDIS. I was a little bit worried that she wasn't going to get the TARDIS and it was just going to go into this non-stop thing of her trying to find her TARDIS throughout the whole series. And I was so relieved at the end when she got it back. It's a little bit darker than what I'm used to. I would have preferred the TARDIS if it was a bit lighter, but it's okay. I've got nothing against it personally. Then the next episode, rose up. This was actually, I enjoyed this episode. I actually thought this was quite a good episode. No like supernatural bad guys or anything. Well, there was that time travelling guy, wasn't there? It came from the future, that time travelling racist. I thought they were going to do more of him because Ryan sends him into the past, and I thought maybe there'd be a consequence of that. Maybe he goes to the past and he starts messing things up, and then they have to go back and fix it. But none of that happened. He just disappeared. I feel that was a wasted character unless they bring him back in a future episode. I thought that was a wasted opportunity, and yeah, it was just more of a history lesson. And the original Doctor Who was supposed to be like semi-educational. Obviously, it had silly things like the Daleks as well in the beginning, but the original concept of Doctor Who was that it was going to be mildly educational. That's why it had two teachers in the very first series. But going back to that, I'm not sure if it's moved on too much from that point or not, because they did say they're going to try and go back to the original roots. I thought it was a good episode. I did like it, but that's more to do with all the other characters, not the main characters. But it was quite a nice episode. Arachnids in the UK. Okay, so this was just daft, but you need a daft episode. No series of Doctor Who is complete without a daft episode. I thought, like, again, the bad guy, whatever his name was, I can't be bothered to look it up. You think he's going to be like, you know, this really bad guy, and he's not. He's just an idiot. He's just a goddamn idiot. This dumping things under the hotel, and then there's some spider waste or whatever, and they mutate and grow big, and he's not behind it at all. Okay, yeah, he should have been more careful with the dumping and stuff, but he's just an idiot. And yeah, again, he's kind of a red herring. You think he's going to be the bad guy, and he isn't. And I found that mildly disappointed. Then, what's this next one? How do you pronounce that? The Tersunga Conundrum? I'm not sure how that's pronounced. Again, the thing is with this episode, while I was watching it, I was actually enjoying it. But when I think about it looking back, it is mildly disappointing. It had more characters I didn't care about. Again, the Doctor guy. Again, I can't be bothered to look his name up. I can't remember it. And I think we're supposed to care about him, and I just didn't. And it's very rare for a series of Doctor Who to come up with so many characters that I just don't care about. Almost every series, right back from 1963 all the way through to the present day, I've cared about almost every character that's ever been in it. And I say almost, there was a couple of exceptions, but with this series, it just seems to I don't know what it is about the writing of the series. It's just one character after another. I just couldn't care less about it. And it's almost like they're forcing us to try and care, and I just didn't. And then again, the bad guy, again, it's not actually that bad at all. It's just misunderstood. It just wants to eat. And the Doctor even says, you know, there's very few evil people in the world or universe. They're just misunderstood. He just wanted to eat. And again, I say at the time I enjoyed it. It's just looking back at it, it's frustrating. And then the Demons of Punjab is the next episode. And again, it's a similar thing. You think there's a really bad person, and then it turns out actually they're not that bad at all. In fact, they're not even bad at all. They were maybe once, and they're just misunderstood. That seems to be the whole underlying story arc on this season of Doctor Who. Some people are just a little bit misunderstood. You think they're evil, and in fact they're not evil. I thought the general story was okay. Again, it was another like historical episode, looking back at how India and Pakistan split up. So that's quite good in the educational sense, but again, it just failed in some respect. But yet it was a good episode. It's hard to explain because I did like it as an episode in itself, but as a Doctor Who episode, I'm not sure. If they'd done this story as a separate thing, not Doctor Who, I probably would have liked it more. But for me, it didn't fit in with the overall narrative of the programme. I'm not sure if I'm making any sense, because I'm saying I did enjoy it, but I didn't enjoy it. It's confusing. Then what we've got next? Kablam! Right, so the Doctor finally gets the fez that she ordered when she was Matt Smith's Doctor. He ordered the fez there. So that took a while to turn up. Again, I just feel as if they're forcing you to try and care about characters that I just didn't care about. Like that girl that gets killed. You know, she's like a nice, worker, and isn't she sweet, and we're all supposed to like her, and then she gets killed, and isn't it tragic? The overall story was alright, although I feel like the Doctor should have realised sooner that they could have just teleported down instead of sending the others off for all those conveyor belt systems. That was a little bit daft. Yeah. The Witchfinders. I actually really enjoyed this episode. Again, completely daft, completely stupid. But I actually really liked this episode. This, for me, was actually one of my favourite episodes in this series. It was completely ridiculous. But I liked this one, and I did care about the characters in this one, funnily enough. Even though the main woman, what's her name? Should we look up her name? Becca Savage, that's it. I actually liked her. She's completely bonkers, killing everyone to try and get in favour with God. What a nutcase. And I actually like King James. It was completely ridiculous, completely absurd. It was just, the whole episode was just stupid, and I really liked it. I felt the Doctor was starting to come into her element here, because she's got things she's trying to work out. It takes you away. Is that the one where they go through the portal? Hang on, let's have a look. So it takes you away. I like the fact they actually went to a different country. That's one thing I've been annoying me about Doctor Who over the last 2 years. They very rarely go to other countries. So obviously in this series they went to America, they went to India, and now they've been to Norway. So I liked that, the fact they're travelling around a bit more. That is one good thing about it. This episode was actually alright. I've got nothing against this episode. Again, it did bring back Grace, who I don't like, although it was a fake version of Grace. But I just didn't like her character. Even the fake Grace I didn't like. I think she was actually slightly worse. The whole idea of a conscious universe, I don't think I've ever heard of that before. I'm trying to think, like all through the classic Doctors, I don't think I remember anything about that. It was an okay episode. Again, there weren't really any bad guys. There's one bad guy in the anti-zone, but he wasn't much of a threat. He gets eaten up by moths. Again, there's a real lack of threat in this series, but I think they were aiming at maybe for younger people. I mean, Doctor Who was originally a children's programme. I think a lot of people forget that. The original concept of it was a child's programme, so that's maybe why they've got less bad guys, less danger, but I would like a bit more peril. But yeah, it was an okay episode. I was cringing a little bit at the end when she was talking to Frog. Yeah. What was the next episode? The Battle of Ransakor Avkatos. No idea if I pronounced that right. Yeah, I mean, this was like supposed to be the series finale, big peril. I was hoping for like a major cliffhanger. I really wanted a cliffhanger. and that would take us into the next series or the Christmas special or New Year's special or whatever it was. But no, there wasn't anything like that. It was actually it was lame. A species of only 2 people. Okay, fair enough. Tim Shaw's back, completely hopeless as a bad guy. And then when Graham and Ryan shoot him, they go on, you remember Grace, blah, and it's just like, oh, for God's sake, not that stupid fucking woman again. Even though she's not in it, they have to mention her, and I just, no, I don't like her. He just was rubbish as a bad guy. It was just, as a series finale, it just should have had more peril. My main problem with this series was that it had no build up of a story. All the classic episodes, and when I say classic, I don't mean from the 60s to 80s. I mean the David Tennant, Matt Smith era. There was a story building throughout this whole series. It had a couple of fillers. This one, the problem is, it had the stanza on episode 1. You had a brief mention of them in episode 2, and then you see and hear nothing of them until episode 10. And then is quickly dispatched by being shot in the foot, as I said earlier, and put in a stasis pod. And there's no peril, there's no danger, there's no build-up, there's nothing to keep you coming back thinking, oh, what's going to happen? How is it going to end? It felt like to me, episodes 3 to 9 were all fillers. That's the problem. So that's what I say. That's my problem with the story writing, the script writing. So it just really felt like that. Episodes 3 to 9 was a filler episode. Only 1, 2, and 10 actually contributed to the main story arc of the whole series. And that's no one's fault but the script writers and the producers and the directors, and I can't blame Jodie Whittaker for that. And I just feel like maybe someone at the top of the BBC just doesn't like Doctor Who anymore. It kind of reminded me of the 80s when the head of the BBC wanted to kill off Doctor Who. So he cut the budget and cut the budget and cut the budget, moved it from a Saturday to a Wednesday, and was just trying to get rid of it, and then eventually axed it. And just thinking, well, this Doctor Who's been moved from a Saturday to a Sunday, and they kept moving the times. I missed the beginning of a few episodes because the times kept changing, which was annoying. And I was just thinking, are they trying to get rid of it and then blame it on Jodie, saying, oh no, the ratings are down because, we put a female doctor in, it's all gone horribly wrong, let's get rid of it. And I just feel like if it does go down, they're going to use her as a scapegoat because it's not her fault. She did a good job. It's the people at the top did a bad job. And I just feel like, it really felt like to me it was a repeat of the 80s when they tried to axe it, and obviously they succeeded for many years. I just feel like that's what's going on. I just really think somebody at the top just doesn't like Doctor Who. And you've got poor old Jodie axing her heart out, doing the best she can. And she's been let down by bad stories and bad scripts and characters I just don't care about. Then the Dalek came back in the New Year's special. This had so much potential to be really good. It really did. It had all the way through, and the Dalek out of its shell, controlling that poor woman. But the problem is with the Daleks, they're supposed to be the most feared, dangerous race in the whole universe, and they're defeated every single time. I just want the Daleks to win. They're supposed to be so evil and so bad, and when a Dalek gets defeated by the innards of a microwave oven, something's gone horribly wrong, and it just, no. The Daleks have been done to death, that's the problem. They were the most evil, feared thing in the universe, but until they actually win in a couple of episodes and the Doctor gets defeated a few times, they're not going to be that feared. It's just a joke, really. It's just but the episode had so much potential. There were times in it when I was actually really watching it thinking, oh, what's going to happen? It looks quite tense, something's going to occur. And then the stupid bit when she tried to ring up UNIT and then got through to that stupid call centre woman, whatever. And it's like, what the hell? Where's UNIT gone? I mean, we know UNIT exists in the future because we've seen UNIT in the future and previous episodes with previous Doctors. So I don't know why they just decided to get rid of UNIT all of a sudden. I mean, have the scriptwriters forgotten that UNIT exists in the future? Or are they going to bring it back? Or what? Or did they just feel like something really stupid was going to happen? That scene just bugged me. I didn't like that scene. And then it just gets defeated so easily. And it's just like, what is the point? It could have been a good episode. It had potential to be good, and then it wasn't. So yeah, anyway, that's my thoughts on the last series of Doctor Who. Overall, I enjoyed it. I found it a bit frustrating. It had far too many characters I just didn't care about, and it's like they're forcing me to care. It's like, here's a character, this person's really nice, you have to like this person. Oh no, we've killed them. Oh, isn't that such a shame? It's tragic. I bet you're really upset now. It's like, no, I'm not. Don't care. So anyway, that's my thoughts on that series. I hope it gets better. If they get some decent stories, some decent scripts to go with those stories, then I think it could be amazing again. I think Jodie Whittaker has got the potential to be an amazing Doctor. At the moment, I think she's only a good Doctor, but she's limited by what she's got to work with. If she has something good to work with, like a decent storyline, a decent character development arc, decent scripts, I think she could be amazing. She could be really good. At the moment, she's just good, but she could be amazing. But again, it's what she's got to work with. And at the moment, she's just not working with very good things, and it's sad because she has potential, and I'm worried that if they carry on the path that they're on, that people are going to say, oh no, she was, not one of the greats, and she could be. So, anyway, that's my thoughts on it. I just hope that they work it out a bit better. I really want to see her dark side, like Matt Smith in A Good Man Goes to War, or David Tennant in The Family of Blood, or Christopher Eccleston. He had quite a dark side in some of his episodes. I want to see that side of Jodie. I want to see her less of this fun-loving character. It's like, come on, friends, we're all pals. Isn't this fun? I want to see the other side of her, and there was a hint of that in the New Year special, but only a hint. And I was thinking, this could be good. There's a hint there of her just coming out as, what you've got to remember is the Doctor is old. The Doctor has been a warrior. He's been in battles, or she has been in battles, and killed many people. They brush over that, thinking, oh, isn't the Doctor fun? No, it's not. The Doctor is drenched in blood. They say that in several episodes. I want to see this dark side of the Doctor, and I think Jodie would be good at that, and I think she'd have fun playing that side. So that's it of my review of the last series of Doctor Who. I probably won't do another one until Jodie regenerates into somebody else, whoever that is going to be. Give my thoughts on that person, whoever that is. Yeah, if you like this, thumbs up would be brilliant. I do lots of other videos, film reviews. I've got a bunch of film reviews planned. I've got other things on here as well. And I will see you soon. Bye.